Time once again for the Red, Gold, and Bold. Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, Soren Petro with you as we get ready to go over and under with some of the key stats on the Chiefs defense. We did offense last time out. We're doing the defense this time. Scoring defense, where's that going to rank? Rushing yards allowed, where were they ranking that? Third downs. Total team sacks, Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, how much do they get after the quarterback? What about the rookies? We've got a number to go over or under on the rookies' sacks. Takeaways, where are they going to be at that? It's been a problem. It's been a premium, tough to get to. What about Mansoor Delane and his interceptions? Where will he be? Explosive plays. Harrison Butke missing kicks. We're talking about it right here, right now on the Red, Gold, and Bold.
You are listening to the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Chiefs on planet Earth, breaking down the Chiefs like no one else can. Red, Gold, and Bold is hosted by Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro. Jeff Chadiha is a senior columnist and on-air personality for the NFL Network and NFL.com. Sam McDowell is a columnist for the Kansas City Star. Soren Petro is the afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. The Red, Gold, and Bold podcast is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are the hosts of the Best Chiefs podcast, Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro.
Thank you very much, Curtis. How about that? Taking the week off from the radio, but still coming in here live to do the open for us here on the Red, Gold, and Bold. You got to love that, Curtis Siebold. The guy's a great man. We appreciate it. Overs and unders. I always enjoy this. This is one of my favorite things that we do here. We take the real numbers where they're applicable. That's obviously applies a lot more to the offensive side of the ball. Not a whole lot of defensive real wagers that are out there. And then we come up with what the numbers are that we'll go over or under on the ones that don't have anything posted. Again, just any quick observation about the exercise at hand, Jeff? Anything jump at you about getting ready for this one?
A lot harder to find categories for this than the offensive one. That was my big takeaway, that it was just, I think partly because it was just a lot more new faces, a lot more questions on this side of the football. So I think with the offense, you really have some hard data about guys like Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Kenneth Walker, and here a lot of rookies, some free agents thrown in there that factor into this, and really not a lot of star power. And so when you're trying to figure out over-unders, you'd like to have some probably more known commodities to work with.
I don't know about you, Sam. I agree exactly with what Jeff's saying, but I thought that made it a little bit more entertaining because it is more unknown as to what we're dealing with here on the defensive side of the ball. What'd you take away?
Yeah, I mean, you're going in blind on a lot of these categories because the Chiefs actually replaced 6 starters because Derek Nottie started 11 games for him last year. Mike Danis started 11 games for him last year. They're actually replacing 6, over half of their starting lineup will be new this year. And so, yeah, you've got a lot of stuff to consider that, to Jeff's point, doesn't have hard data behind it yet.
I guess it's just not a podcast unless Sam McDowell can find a way to work Derek Nottie into the equation. Yeah. I guess it's just how this works. Good to know. Good to know. All right, let's get things started. Ranking as far as points allowed. The number is 9.5. Over is worse. So over, you would have a ranking that's 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. So over is worse. Under is better for those that haven't kept up with where the Chiefs have been of late. Last year, 6th in points allowed. Before that, 4th, 2nd, 16th in 22, 8, 10, 7. So they've been top 10 every year since 2019, with the exception of 2022 when they finished 16th in points allowed. We've put the number at 9.5. Jeff, do you want to lead us off? Where are you going, over or under?
You know, I think I'm going to go over, first of all. But it's hard because usually when you have teams that are going to run the ball, a lot, or at least more consistently, the Chiefs have run it, you're more likely to see the defense benefit from that. But I'm going over for two reasons. One, because of what Sam just said. You got a lot more new faces, which going to affect the chemistry of your defense, which makes you more liable for big plays and some mistakes. And also because they're playing a much tougher schedule when it comes to offensive teams. I mean, you're seeing a lot of really good offensive coaches like the Kyle Shanahans, the Sean McVays, seeing a lot of really good quarterbacks like the Joe Burrows, like the Josh Allens, the Matt Staffords. And so I just think it's going to be hard for them to be a top 10 defense when you have that much firepower and that much creativity coming at you.
Yeah. That's interesting. So he goes over. I think it's pretty easy. You mean, Sam, with what you just said, to land there, right? So many new faces, a lot of young players. But if you go back to 22, and if you go back to 22, that's when they had a bunch of new faces on the defensive side of the ball, particularly in the secondary. 16th. That's the one time that they weren't in the top 10. Is this actually easy? Is it just a replay of what we saw that year? And so you go ahead and take the over.
I'm going to take the over as well. I mean, this is actually the first time that the Chiefs have gone back to back in top 10 in yards allowed. I know we're talking about points, but in yards allowed, and since like the early 1970s, wrapped between the late 60s and early 70s. I know, like I said, that this is points, but that is proof of the difficulty of consistency defensively. I mean, $250 million walked out the door this offseason, and the Chiefs didn't spend $250 million in return. Instead, they spent draft capital. Well, with draft capital, that's why that team finished 16th and points allowed in 22 is because it takes those guys time. And let's keep in mind how complex Steve Spagnuolo's defense is. And they're going to be asking rookies to play. And I think that this defense could get there, but I think it'll take some time. And I think the balance overall, when we look back at the season, they won't be in top 10. Top 9, I guess this will be.
Yeah. Knee-jerk reaction, easy over. But when you go to the schedule, stop me when you go, okay, here's a top 10 offense, okay? Broncos? No.
What were they last year? What were they offense? Were they top 10 last year?
I think they were probably pretty close. I don't have it off, but I'm just going on what do you think this year? Just real quick. Colts?
It depends.
Okay, Dolphins?
No.
Raiders?
Colts were 5th in DVOA last year. Broncos were 15th.
But we're doing points. We're doing points allowed. So by points.
Yeah. They were pretty up there in points before Daniel Jones went down. They were,
and then they backed up the bus at that point. But Chargers? I'll say yes. I think the Chargers ought to be there. I'll say yes on the Chargers. Yeah. Seahawks?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, I think Seahawks are borderline.
Okay, yeah. Broncos, Jets, no. Falcons? Kevin Stefanski taking over, maybe.
They have weapons.
Some talent. Okay. But Cardinals?
No.
Bills?
Yeah.
Okay, I think the Bills too. Rams? Yes. Yeah. Bengals?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Patriots?
Scoring. Yeah. Yeah. They were, 2 last year?
49ers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Chargers and Raiders. My point is, they get a lot of runway against teams that were like, maybe, I don't know, huh? Like there is runway to ram. Like I said, the knee-jerk reaction, and I'm going over as well. I want to be clear on that. I'm always Captain Chiefs, and even I'm going over on this. But I do think there's runway for them to get it up and running, get it figured out in the first 8-9 weeks before they really hit what is going to be the firepower of the offenses in the second half of the season. So I do think that bodes well for them to find themselves and be the best version of themselves, which is what they did in 22. They were their best version in the playoffs. And so I do think the schedule lends itself for them to maybe get things going in the right direction and be feeling, pretty good and playing at a high level. I just want to point that out. All right, next on the list, we've got rushing yards allowed per game. We're going by the rank on this again. We've put 12 as the number. Again, higher would be worse, lower would be better. 25, 9th, 24, 8th. Previous to that, 18th, 8, and 21. A little bit more variance on this one, and a lot of new faces again. Jeff, where are you going? Higher?
I'm going higher. I'm going over. I'm going over. Over.
Okay.
It'd be higher. And for the same reasons. I think those offenses I've named, a lot of those teams like to run the football. And so they're probably going to see, I'm thinking, aside from Baltimore and Philadelphia, they're probably going to see every top 10 back in the league, aren't they? And Jahmyr Gibbs, I guess. I got Bijan, you got Christian McCaffrey, you're going to have James Cook, who led the league in rushing. You're going to have
Colts,
Jonathan Taylor.
And Dolphins. If any can block, Devin Achane.
Yeah, but the Chargers are going to run it. The Broncos are going to run it. And so I don't see where there's going to be a lot of relief there. And a lot of the people they brought in to help are pass rush types. And so they've got to prove they can stop the run to get to a situation where they can actually get after the quarterback. And I just think a lot of teams are going to try to run it down their throat, also because that's the best way to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sidelines.
Okay. Sam?
Yeah, I'm going to go under on this for two reasons. One, Khyiris Tonga is exactly what they did not have last year. Like, he is the focal point of trying to be better against the run. Two is I think teams are going to look at the inexperience the Chiefs have in the secondary and say, why would I run the ball 35 times when, it's potentially a matchup against Christian Fulton? Noah Williams is in a second year. Mansoor, Delane, as talented as he is as a rookie. Shamari Connors at safety, and I think he's fine there, but not terrific there. And Alohi Gilman is new to the system. I think teams are going to look at the Chiefs defense and feel like that they should be passing the ball more.
I'm under as well. I think the secondary is an inviting target with all the youth that's out there. I think Tonga helps. I think the depth of defensive tackles helps. I think they're deeper across the defensive line. They should be able to rotate players. They should be able to play better, longer at that. So I just think the defensive line's a lot better. I mean, I think if we end up being wrong and this defense is in the top 10 and it's better than 9th overall, it'll be because that defensive line is getting to the quarterback and they're a lot better. I mean, if Peter Woods is, Chester McLaughlin early in his career, I'm trying to think of guys that were, high profile defensive tackles that slid on draft day. To a lesser extent, the Bucks taking the kid from Miami,
Warren Sapp.
He didn't slide as far as Peter Woods did, but if Peter Woods is an enforcer, then I think a lot of this changes. If he ends up being as good as people thought he would be coming into last year in college football, then I think they could be pretty good. But I do think they're going to be better stopping the run. So I go under there. All right, third down ranking. Sam, how are you qualifying this? Just how they rank yards allowed on third down?
Conversion percentage.
Okay.
Yeah, conversion percentage on third down. And last year they were 29th, so fourth worst in the league. The year before they were 26th. Year before 10th, 13th, and 18th.
All right. You want to lead us off?
Sure. I'm gonna go. I think we had it 15.5. So we had will they be league average? I have them over. I think they'll be worse than league average, mostly because they've been so bad the last 2 years. And then you turn over your roster. I don't know what the argument is here for how they can make such a drastic improvement. And this has to come more from the blitzes that didn't get home last year. And I've mentioned the contrast between their blitz rate and their pressure rate several times on here, but it's even more drastic when you only look at how frequently they pressure the quarterback when blitzing. They were 6th worst in the league on when blitzing, their pressure rate. That's the stuff that Steve Spagnuolo was known for previously in his career. And that stuff has to get home because this year's secondary isn't built to cover for as long as last year's secondary was built to cover. So I have a hard time finding the argument to say that they'll make that significant of a jump.
Okay, Jeff?
Same boat, over. And I would say I'm making a strong case for this defense not being very good. I'm a little more hopeful than what I'm suggesting right now, but I certainly feel like what Sam's saying. You look at adding new faces to a defense that wasn't doing a great job at this for the last couple of years, a team that got to the Super Bowl.
Well, can I ask a question? Because you both made that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I don't want you to go too far from it. You both made the point that they were bad last year. Now they have new faces. What do you want? The same faces?
I want experienced faces. I want proven faces. I'm not betting on rookies to make that big a difference.
Tonga and Gilman are proven commodities.
That's 2 spots. We got 6 more or 4 more to deal with, right?
Mine is the fact that I think the secondary is worse than it was a year ago. I mean, the secondary is, I think, clearly worse than a year ago. You could say could develop. And like if Mansoor, Delane is Trent McDuffie, is fourth year Trent McDuffie as a rookie, terrific rookie, right? And that's an all-pro. And then you've got Jalen Watson being replaced. But if Noah Williams turns into Jalen Watson as a fourth-year guy and his first year as a starter, like those are good years for those guys. Brian Cook had a great year last year. Their third down ranking last year is because they couldn't pressure the quarterback, because they couldn't get home with blitzes.
Agreed.
And so you have to look at and say the combination of the two. Can they get better pressure? That's stuff that's going to be on a rundown later in the show. Versus how much more pressure do they need to get? Because quarterbacks might have more opportunity to find outlets at a quicker pace than they could last year.
Will they be better than they were last year? Will they 26? Don't just focus on 29. Let's say, will they be better than 26? That they've been 29 and 26 the last 2 years. Do you think there will be improvement in this category? It's just that you're not going to go all the way to 15.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would say yes. Yeah, they'd be in the 20s. But I think part of that too, just the add on to what Sam was just saying about blitz packages, you have to get into blitz-worthy situations. So that was the bigger problem they had. It wasn't just they couldn't get home; that they were getting situations where it was 3rd and 4 or 2nd and 5, where you can't really unleash the dogs in the way you would like. And this is really a Chris Jones stat. To be honest with you, this is a stat. This is where he should make hay. He hadn't been making hay like he used to.
And I'm fine with that statement wholeheartedly. I do think they'll be better than they've been of late. I do think that they will get home more. I think they will get home without the blitzing. I think and if they can do that, if just their call it nickel or whatever it is, but if their base 4 can get, I think their base 4 can line up not knowing if it's run or pass and maybe actually get a sack. Right? And I don't know when the last time that front 4 with just 4 guys played a straight up defense. Didn't blitz anybody, didn't get cute, didn't twist, didn't stunt, just said, okay, we're ready to play whatever, and then just somebody beat somebody. I think they're going to get some of those sacks. I think they'll get more long down and distances. I think that was part of their problem as well. I do think they'll be better. It's just the idea of going all the way past 15 or all the way past 16 to number 15. They've only done that twice, and that was in 22 and 23, and so I don't know. The math just says take over. So I'll take over. But I do want to point out that I do think they will be better this year. And I think it'll be because of the defensive line. Derek Nottie not being there, that's a giant addition to this team. Addition by subtraction. We'll get into that pass rush after you hear from our friends at GAN. Your parking lot says a lot about your business. Cracks, potholes, faded striping, and damaged concrete can create safety concerns and leave the wrong impression with customers. GAN Asphalt and Concrete helps Kansas City businesses protect their properties with asphalt paving, seal coating, crack filling, parking lot striping, concrete work, and repairs. Their experienced crews deliver quality workmanship and dependable service on every project. Whether you need routine maintenance or a complete parking lot overhaul, GAN is ready to help you. Get started today with a free estimate at GANAsphalt.com. GAN Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. And if you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. All right, listen up, anybody getting ready to swing by Italian Delight. Renee was all worried about this. They're on vacation. He and his sister, who own Italian Delight, took their first family vacation in like 20 plus years. Everybody getting together. So they are all on vacation. So they will be closed until next Wednesday. We're recording this or streaming it live, but also recording it on the 21st. So they won't be back until Wednesday, the 29th. So don't run by there today, but you can check out the great menu, ItalianDelightKS.com. All right, let's continue with the over-under totals. Team sacks for the Chiefs. We're going with 40.5 is the number on this one, Jeff. Previous years, last year, 35, 24, 39. Back at 23, 57, and 22, 55, 21, 31, 32. 2019, they had 45. They've gone over this number 3 times in the last 7 years. They've gone under this number 4 times in the last 7 years. Where are you going this year?
Under. I mean, that list of numbers you just rattled off there tells me that 57 and 55 sacks were major outliers. In one of those years, they had the best defense in the league. And so,
and this is not a ranking. This is the raw number. So you say they're going under 40 and a half sacks.
40 and a half. 40 is a pretty sizable number for a team with young players. And again, if you really believe their defense and their pass rush is going to be better, you're asking a lot of Peter Woods, of R. Mason Thomas, Ashton Gelati, and Omar Norman Lott. And 3 of those guys didn't play that much. Well, 1 was hurt, 2 have never played in the NFL. And so I think they can get to 38, 39, which is a solid number for that group, but getting to 40, I'm not seeing it right now. And that's partially because I think Chris Jones is going to keep trending in the wrong direction.
All right. Sam?
I'm going over. I mean, I'm not projecting this group to be elite, but they had 35 last year, just 5.5 shy of this number, with Chris Jones only getting 7. George Karlaftis playing with a broken hand for most of the year, and Mike Dana and Derek Nottie combining for 700 snaps on the defensive line. I think all 4 of those things will improve for him. And you're going to have better pass rushers than Mike Dana and Derek Nottie on the field. George Karlaftis ideally will not be playing with a broken hand. I think Chris Jones has more than 7 sacks. And by the way, I mean, sacks are huge, but the pressure rate has to improve. Yeah. Regardless of whether or not you're getting sacks, you have to make life uncomfortable for the quarterback. And the Chiefs didn't do enough of that. And there was a telling moment last year during the middle of the season whenever Andy Reid was asked something about opposing quarterbacks or something, and he mentioned something about you can't let him be too comfortable back there. And that was like as critical as Andy Reid gets. Him basically saying, we've made them, you know, it's the cliche of like, does this guy need a shower after the game? Because he's just been sitting back there and not pressured or taken to the ground at all. You've got to pressure him even if you're not taking him down.
They're stone cold over on this. In fact, if they don't go over, we may be talking about some serious changes within the organization. I think they should be talking about changes. The pressure rate was too low.
Like what type?
I honestly, scouts being fired. You know, there'll be heat on Brett Veach and or Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, listen, Steve Spagnuolo does great with the coverages, but you know, if this becomes what would now be 5 times in the last 8 years that they can't get to 40 sacks. I mean,
that's a big number. 40 sacks is yeah.
They finished 2nd, 4th, and 6th in points in the last three years. I mean, you can't put the heat on.
I still think I'll stand by the statement. There's no way that you can have the highest paid defensive tackle in football. 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a third-round pick on your defensive line, and not get 40 sacks. I want someone's ass if I'm, you know, just point, but somebody pays.
It's like that.
You want to blame scouting? Okay, let's change the scouting. You want to blame Joe Cullen? Let's blame Joe Cullen. You want to blame the defensive coordinator? I want somebody's ass in my office explaining how we invested this many resources in this defensive line, and we can't get to 40 sacks. Come on.
Did you guys see that clip? I think it was last year where Skip Schumacher was managing the Marlins, and the umpire heard he told the dugout to stop chirping. Somebody said something again, and the umpire threw him out, and the umpire had no idea who he threw out. So Skip Schumacher comes out of the dugout, and he's like, "Who'd you throw out?" And he's like, "Somebody's got to go. You somebody, but somebody's got to go." That's what this is. So it's like, I don't care who it is.
Listen,
got to go.
I mean, right? Like here it is.
This draft.
Temecula, hold some feet to the fire, right? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give you at the end of the year, I'll tell you who I think it is. I'll tell you who, hey, here's where I think the problem is. But I mean, they will have to, like, you can't go 6-11. And like, if this is like an 8-9 or 9-8 year and they don't pressure the quarterback, like you don't get to just be like, well, you know, we had a bunch of injuries. My ass. Like, no.
So you think these young players are coming here and setting the world on fire?
I don't think I'm not picking them for 65 sacks or anything like that. But I mean, I think there were specific. Again, it's why listen. By taking the over, I am telling you that I believe in the people that make the decisions for the Kansas City Chiefs, because everything you've said about young players, not sure what you're going to get, that's right. But I just don't. I think that they're drafting, given that many shots at it. Listen, Felix Onyedik-Uzomah is not going to do much, but he's one of the 3 first rounders that's in there. Yeah. Maybe he will. Maybe he's going to be healthy and do something. But George Karlaftis, you know, I do think Chris Jones is going to be better with more people around him and maybe the double teams. I do think Peter Woods will help.
Some of this you'll address in these next 3 items, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's do it.
The point I was going to make, though, if you start doing the math with the numbers we have for the next 2 guys coming up, you're going to ask some rookies to be around 8-9 sacks.
No,
I get like 5 guys.
Not if he picks the over on a couple of these.
That's what I'm waiting to see.
Yeah. Well, could I clarify? I don't disagree with your point that when you invest that amount, you better get 40 sacks. The only pushback I had on that it should be Spags, because he hasn't had great pressure rates and the defense has finished top 6 in points allowed in all 3. Like he's made it work. He's found the Band-Aid to cover up for the fact that that's been a frequent link.
Yeah, I agree, but I also don't think you can put together 2 bad years back to back and somebody not pay the price. Nobody paid the price. Well, the wide receiver coach and the running back coach paid the price, and that's it for last year. They basically said that's it. And Isaiah Pacheco,
Matt Nagy's gone too,
and Matt Nagy and the offensive coordinator. And he got another offensive coordinator job. So, that tells you what the rest of the league thought as to whether or not it was at least what the Giants and John Harbaugh thought about whether or not it was Matt Nagy's fault. But let's get to it. Chris Jones, sacks 6.5. His totals the last few years: 7, 5, 10.5, 16 in 22, 9, 8, and 9. He's been below 10 in 5 of the last 7. He's gone over this number in 5 of the last 7. However, he's actually only been under it once, but we're trending based upon the age. We've got the number at 6.5. Jeff, where do you go?
This is the toughest one for me. I'm gonna go under, but I think he'll be at like 5.5, 6 sacks. I don't think he'll be at 6.5. I just can't go over with the way he's looked, knowing that with all those young faces, he's going to still be getting double teamed. He's going to be a priority for blocking schemes. And to be honest with you, I keep coming back to who they're playing against. A lot of mobile quarterbacks. Justin Herbert can move around. Josh Allen can move around. Joe Burrow's got decent mobility. Drake May ran for 400 some yards this past his second season in the league. I mean, there's a lot of guys who can evade. Bo Nix. And so I think he's going to get a lot of attention. I think he's going to not fight through that attention. And then when he does get there, he's going to whiff a lot. So that's where I'm going with Chris Jones.
Okay. I mean, you're pitching a shutout here so far. Everything has been.
Yeah. We won't be getting the elite question to me.
Okay.
This coming season.
6.5 sacks, Sam. Where do you go?
I go over. I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to set the world on fire and get back to his prime, but I just think he's going to be surrounded by better personnel. And when you look at those great sack numbers he had, the defense had somebody else to worry about. I also think ideally, if he's playing with Karlaftis and if R. Mason Thomas turns in to anything, that he's playing defensive tackle and rushing the quarterback. And I think this case-by-case basis of him getting to pick where he lines up every time, if you've got better talent, that guy doesn't get to do that all the time. And the offensive line has to just come out and block and account for everybody. And I think the Chiefs, where they've improved the most defensively, is just at the line of scrimmage.
Red asked something which would be, if it were a baseball season, would maybe have a little bit more concern. If the Chiefs are struggling at the trade deadline, do they look to trade Chris Jones? That contract is untradeable. That cap hit this year, what you'd take on the rest of the way is, I don't think anybody would have that kind of cap room. So no, he'll put in his time with the Kansas City Chiefs. I go over. I don't love it for 12, 13, 14, but I do like it for 8, 9, and maybe even 10. I would probably pick him for 10. I think he's tired of looking at that number. I think he's going to answer questions at camp that are going to piss him off. He better come in motivated. And it's a contract year. He knows it. If he doesn't play well, he's cut. And guys who get cut at his age aren't signing 3 and 4 year deals like it is. His best chance to make the most money the rest of his career is for the Chiefs to be willing to take on that last year on the deal. And so I think you get a motivated player. I think he gets back to like 10 sacks this year. So I'm over on Chris Jones.
To give people a sense of his contract, I mean, he obviously counts a ton of money against the cap this year. He's like
45.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 15% of the cap. Next year, I think if you cut him, which he's making less next year, if you cut him, you save like 18.6 of his 38. So you can cut his salary almost in half. Now that's 19.5 dead cap. That's not something we typically see the Chiefs eat, because it's not something we typically see.
Post June 1, it's half that next year and half that the year after, though. So they can bring that number even down. I never liked that. I would take the hit and move on and just get clear of it all as fast as possible. They've post June 1 did before, so. But yes, you're right. Those are the numbers.
But the issue is they already have 9.5 sitting on 2 years from now in dead money, even if they cut them.
Mm-hmm. George Karlaftis at 8. Jeff, I mean, I've already got the under. Do I erase it?
I'm actually going over with it.
Oh,
I'm giving him some grace for the hand injury. He's more of a technician than a physical freak, and so not being able to use his hands as much to create advantages, I think was a factor for him. And he's been around that number and he's been over it once in the last 4 years. So I think that it's a pretty safe bet he'll get there. He'll be hopefully playing some meaningful games in the second half of the season. And because of the attention Chris Jones will get, I'll give him, I think 10 sacks is a legitimate possibility for him.
Okay, Sam?
Yeah, I'm going over as well. I think it's more likely slightly over than slightly under, but I think 8 is probably about the right number where Vegas has set this. I mean, it's beyond what Jeff said with the hand injury that I also mentioned earlier. I think it's time that George Karlaftis takes the next step too. Yeah. I mean, in his second year, he had, 10 and a half sacks, and you kind of thought, could this guy get to 11, 12? 1 year, and the next couple, again, I think it's tough for a defensive lineman to play with a hand injury, especially a broken hand that he had surgery on during the bye week, I think it was. So I'm not discounting that at all, but I do think it's time for him to take the next step.
Yeah, I'm over as well. At 8 once, over it with the 10.5 and in 23. He had 6 his rookie year. He had 6 last year with the hand injury. I think he's an 8 to 12 sack guy. If you got something else going on along that defensive line, I think they do. They have more than Chris Jones. And I actually think some of the young guys flying around and maybe getting to the quarterback may motivate Chris Jones. And I don't think Karlaftis needs more motivation. I think the hand injury is it. Listen, I remember watching, I think Eric Hicks was a great football story and an undrafted guy who had a 14 sack season for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I think it's out there. Opportunities sometimes, come at you. I think he's a high effort guy. So if they're getting any pressure elsewhere, I think that'll flush the quarterback into his arms a number of times. And I think he may be the biggest benefactor. He may benefit more than Chris Jones. I think one of those two guys is going to, they may both come in at 9 or they may both come in at 10, but I think I won't be shocked if one of those two guys has 13 or 14 and the other one stays at like 7, 8. But I just think that there's going to be some other people that apply pressure and somebody will clean it up. That's just what happens in the NFL.
I want to watch a game with Soren's glasses on, Sam, one of these days. I think he's got like virtual reality glasses. He's like watching a different game than we're watching, different personnel.
Well, I mean, I fit with what I've said I expect to happen here.
I can't wait to see your number on this next one. This got to be through the roof.
Over. Let's not mess around. I'm over. I'm over the 7.5. Yeah. Like somewhere, somebody they just that you can't. I mean, listen, they do have a 57 and 55 sack season in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like getting to 41. Predicting them to get to 41 is like, oh my God, they haven't done that since the 70s. That's not the case. They did it 3 years ago.
I think 41 was 15th in the NFL last year.
Yeah, that's middle of the road. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a big number. What I'm saying is you're going to have, again, 3 other guys not named Chris Jones or Karlaftis flirting around with 7, 8 sacks.
Last year, they got 3.5 out of the rookies. Ashton Gelati had 1.5. Noel Williams had 1, and Norman Lott had 1. First of all, with the number at 7.5, Mansoor Delane's likely to get 1. Okay. There's always the blitz guy that gets it. And then, I've got R. Mason Thomas, Peter Woods, Mansoor, Delane.
Have we said what this category is?
Sacks from rookies,
Yeah.
7.5 is the
Sacks
number.
from rookies,
And I'm easy on the over.
Yeah.
At 7.5. By the way, history last year 3.5, 24 0, 23 a half, 22 9, 21 0, 20 8.5, 19 they had 1. So this number's been all over the board. It's on the higher end, but it's because we expect we expect R. Mason Thomas and Peter Woods to play.
Can I add some more history to that too?
Yeah.
Is that Karlaftis is the only Chiefs rookie in the last 15 years to have at least 3 sacks.
Yeah.
The only Chiefs rookie in 15 years to have at least 3 sacks. He had 6 as a rookie. Mm-hmm. And it's not like they haven't taken defensive line.
Did D Ford have any?
I don't remember what
he didn't play much. I know the years they went over, like in 22, it was a motley crew.
D Ford had 1.5 and 14.
Okay.
But you look even recently, Omar Norman Lott, second rounder, 1 sack as a rookie. FAU, first rounder, 0.5 sack as a rookie. Karlaftis, first rounder, 6. Breland Speaks, second rounder, 1.5 sacks. Tano Passanio, second rounder, 2 sacks. Chris Jones, 2 sacks. And you mentioned D Ford, first rounder, 1.5 sacks. Like, they haven't had a lot of rookies come in and set the world on fire at the defensive line.
And if you go across the league, that tends to be the trend. Usually guys who come in from college football are not used to seeing the size and the athleticism and the ability level of NFL linemen. And so it takes a while to adjust to that. And so while Soren is thinking they just got Derek Thomas and whoever else, Neil Smith, and
jackass.
That's right. And it's like it's going to be hard for these guys to have that kind of impact, especially not playing tons of snaps. If you're some of these guys, like R. Mason Thomas, is not going to be playing tons of snaps, and so I do think. Look, the over here is 7.5. I actually was going to go over just to be positive about it, but I don't think it's going to be more than like 10 sacks from this group, and I still think that's going to keep you way under 40 sacks.
Come on, don't tell me you're going over. You where'd you go?
I went over.
Okay.
I'll give 3 to Thomas, 3 to Woods, and that's only 2. Isn't there another? I'll give Mansoor Delane 1, and I'll give that nickel
Kennedy
1. So
I will tell you that the year that they had 9, it was Karlaftis had the 6.
Yeah.
In 22.
McDuffie had at least 1, I think.
But what was the other year that it was this number was 8.5 in 2020? That one, that's the intriguing, that's the fun one. Here, that list.
Was that Turk maybe?
Turk Wharton is in there. Tim Ward got 1. I think there's like a safety and a corner one in there. I can't get Safari is trash. By the way, Apple can eat a fat bag right now.
22, you had Karlaftis with 6.
Frank Clark had a few.
Trent McDuffie had 1.
No, Frank Clark wasn't a rookie though.
Brian Cook also had 1. So that's 8. I don't know who the other one would have been to get. Oh, Leo Chenal had 1. That got him to 9 in 2022.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you because I've switched now over to Chrome, and so hopefully I can actually get something to load here. In 20, the list it's an eclectic list. I'm going to tell you because I was looking at it last night. That list goes. The rookies were Michael Dana had 2.5. L'Jarius Sneed had 2. Tershawn Wharton had 2. That's 6.5. Willie Gay had 1. That's 7.5.
I forgot about it.
And Tim Ward had 1 for 8.5. No problem. No problem. Over. Easy. All day. I don't know why you even had to think about this one, Jeff. That seems like an easy one. So where was Sam?
I went under on it, just because I think these guys probably add up to about 7. With R. Mason Thomas and Peter Woods, I think they combined for 7. I guess I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt that a cornerback gets. I'll tell you, the history really swayed me. I thought I'd go over on this pretty easily, but seeing one Chiefs rookie in the last 15 years get to 3, that's tough, and that's not exactly a small sample size either. I think it proves the difficulty of even the guys who are successful later in their career, like Chris Jones, like D Ford, the difficulty in doing it right away.
Yeah. So we're at Soren 18.
What for the rookies?
Yeah.
If I had to pick, are we gonna? We can throw a number down on that if you want. I need to look at the draft real quick, and then there'll probably be like a stray undrafted free agent sack in there. I'll go Delane for like a sack because he is a physical guy. I get 1, maybe I might even get 2. He might be L'Jarius Sneed style. I might get 2 out of him. I'll go 5 for Peter Woods because I think he's going to play a lot. I'll go probably 4. I'll go 5 for R. Mason Thomas, and then that's probably it. So I'll put me down for double digits.
So 11, for 12.
Yeah, I'm thinking 11.
So you got Karlaftis with what'd you say, 10 for Karlaftis and 10 for Chris Jones. So that's 32.
I'm at 31. I mean,
so you got to find 9 more somewhere in there.
Yeah, no problem.
The most of
Omar Norman Lott for 4, Ashton Gelati for 3, FAU for a couple.
Oh man, FAU! Yeah. Did you hear that?
Couple linebacker sacks here and there. You know, yeah, couple Drew Tranquils. I'm there easy, Jeff.
That's like a Wemby type reach. Let me go.
I'll say this
off the shelf and pull FAU down into this conversation.
You want to wager just the 2 of us on this one?
What 40? That number?
Yeah, 41. I got to get to 41.
Yeah, I'll give you.
Okay, what do you want? Dinner? Lunch?
Yeah, dinner.
Okay, there you go. There it is, dinner. Let me make a note. Dinner.
We'll get some Italian delight.
There you go. I'll take you over there. That's yeah. Well, Renee will probably be like, no, I got you. Yeah. Sacks total. All right. Bet. I've made a note on the show sheet, so there it is. We'll see what it ends up being when it's all said and done. All right, we still got a lot more to get to. We've got to get to the takeaways. Mansoor, Delane, explosive passes allowed. Butke missing kicks. We're going to put that one on there as well. We'll do it after you hear from our friends at Italian Delight. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. If you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. If your property needs asphalt or concrete work, Gann Asphalt and Concrete is ready to help you. From parking lots and drive lanes to sidewalks, curbs, patching, seal coating, crack filling, and repairs. Their experienced crews handle projects of all sizes throughout the entire Kansas City metro. Whether you're fixing problem areas or planning a larger paving project, Gann focuses on quality workmanship and dependable service from start to finish. No matter what shape your pavement is in today, they can help improve it. Request a free estimate and learn more at GannAsphalt.com. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. All right, got a lot more to go. By the way, I'll just say, who was it? Temecula. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's right. Simple, effective, old school. A desk calendar. Appreciate that. All right, let's talk about the total takeaways for this team. This is what they've been in recent years. Last year, 14, 24, they had 20 of them. Going before that, 17, 20, 29, 22, 23. So trending a little bit down. Just 14 last year. We put the number at 18.5 for total takeaways. Jeff, I've got you down for under, correct?
Yes, that would be smart.
Yeah.
That'd be smart. I think that 20, there was a lot. Obviously, that was the year that they had a lot of friendly bounces and things working in their favor. And then the other 2 years, they were under it. So I'm going to be more consistent with that. And in fact, that 17, that was the year when they had the top defense in the league and won the Super Bowl with that group. And so they only had 17 there. So I think, again, it's not to say they can't be a team that becomes really takeaway heavy. But I think it's going to take a few years with all these young players in the mix. And I start looking at who's on the roster and on that side of the football. I just don't see a lot of guys on the back end who have either played a lot or gotten a lot of turnovers. Nick Bolton, obviously, is not a guy who takes the ball away as far as interceptions. Tranquil has an ability to do it. I know Karlaftis is good at forcing fumbles, but I just don't see a lot of opportunities coming from this group based on what history has shown us.
Interesting. Okay. Sam?
I'm going over. I think those opportunities come from putting the quarterback under siege more. And so if I'm predicting that they're going to get more pressure, more sacks, that to me is what leads to turnover, is quarterbacks making rush decisions. Noah Williams, I mean, this was also his strength in college. It's one of the reasons they drafted him. I think he had 7 interceptions in his senior year at Cal. I also think the cornerbacks will just get tested more. And so I think the opportunities will be there. I mean, I don't think interceptions, I mean, I know interceptions are not the sign of like the great cornerbacks. I mean, Deron Bland had like an unbelievable amount for the Cowboys a couple of years ago, and he did not have a great year to follow it up. I don't think that this is the sign of, hey, you've got great corners. I think it's often the sign of the ball's being thrown your way a lot. And I think that's going to happen with this year's group.
Yeah, I'm there as well. I think the combination of they're going to test the corners because they're young, and the fact that I clearly have an increased pressure rate coming, I think those two things together add up to more. But I think it might be as much like quarterback fumbles too. I mean, when you pressure, nobody fumbles more than the quarterback, but you got to hit him, and they haven't done that. And so I think if they hit the quarterback, they'll get the takeaways. I don't think they go way over it, but they've been over 18.5 in 5 of the last 7 years. So I'm going to say the increased pressure rate gets them back over it here. Mansoor, Delane interceptions. We put it at 2.5, and I'll tell you why. Here are the interception leaders that the Chiefs have had. This is the individual interception leader going back 25 to 2020. Jalen Watson with 2, Jaden Hicks with 3, L'Jarius Sneed with 2, a tie in 22 with L'Jarius Sneed and Juan Thornhill with 3, Tyrann Mathieu with 3, and then 2020, you got to go back to Tyrann Mathieu. In 2020, he had 6. That's the last time anybody had more than 3 interceptions from the secondary. They just do not pick it off. So Mansoor, Delane for 2.5. Jeff, under?
Yeah. I mean, and only a couple of those years has a cornerback been the sole leader there. Most of those guys were playing safeties who were getting the ball. And they just, the way they play defense, it's just hard to get interceptions. A lot of man coverage, a lot of your back turned to the football. It's hard to find in the air when it's being thrown. And so I just think Mansoor Delane is going to be that kind of player as well, where he's going to be put in a lot of positions to try to knock passes away. If this was a pass deflection category, I'd be a lot higher on this, but I think he's going to have a hard time getting interceptions. If Trent McDuffie, who was a 2-time All-Pro, didn't get what he left with like 3 in 4 years or something like that. So
yeah. 4 of the 7 names on here are safeties, and only once did a corner top this number, Sam, in that stretch. Over or under?
I'm gonna go under, and I realize that there's some contradiction and picking the overall takeaways over, but I don't know that I had a ton of them coming from Delane. I think what hurt McDuffie is that he didn't have long arms. Delane doesn't have like super long arms either. I mean, he's 6 foot. He's not 6'1", 6'2". So, but I don't think he's going to go like a Trent McDuffie rookie year without getting one. I think I'd probably project him to get 2.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. I think he'll probably be a little bit better ball hawk. I think Trent McDuffie was just so sound. The guy didn't look open. I think I'm assuming there's going to be a little more gamble in Mansoor Delane, but I'm still going under as well. I think you can see how this defense, he might get there, but I mean, I think we're picking this from a wagering kind of mindset of it. I think you take the under or you stay away from it, but I'll go under the 2.5. Sam, why don't you lead us off? Explosive passes allowed, the number of them, pass plays allowed of more than 20 yards, right? We've put the number at 50.5. Going back from 25, moving backwards. They've given up 45, 52, 39, 45, 52, 52, and 46. So they've been over the 50.5 3 times. Under it, they've been 4 times. So where are you on this?
Yeah, I think this was about 12th last year, 12th most allowed, but I'm still going to go over. I just think with the inexperience and the secondary that this is where teams will target. And also, Brian Cook had a really good year last year on the back end, and we don't know yet what Gilman will bring. And I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm just saying it's an unknown versus a guy who was really good at this spot last year. And so I'm gonna go over here.
Okay, Jeff?
I'm going over too. And this, to me, is one of the most dangerous stats on this list because they go too far over this. They're going to have a really hard time slowing people down. But again, I think about the quarterbacks. I think about some of the receivers they're going to see. And I could see the Bengals getting half this number in one game alone with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow going after it. So, yeah, I think that's going to be hard. Young secondary, you're going to give up big plays.
If somebody doesn't toast Orlando Brown a couple of times in that game on the pass rush, I'm going to be disappointed. I do agree. I'm going over as well. I think it's going to be more of a boomer bust. I mean, that's not Steve Spagnuolo. Doesn't take it away much. Doesn't give up the big play. That's kind of what he does. But I just think with the young players, I think they're going to have, sacks the quarterback doesn't see coming and fumble it more. But I also think there's going to be times when they don't get home, corners in the wrong spot, safeties in the wrong spot, or somebody just gets beat off a wily veteran experience move. And I think you have to take the over in this one. All right, the final one. Butker misses under 50 yards. This includes extra points, right? So we're throwing extra points in there as well. We've got the number at 5.5. Last year, he had 6, 2 field goals, and 4 extra points. In 24, it was only 3. In 23, it was 2. 22, it was 5. 21, it was 3. 2020, it was 8. In 2019, it was 4. He's missed a lot of extra points in his time. But going back on just the extra points, 4.203263. That seems like kind of a high number that's there for a guy that's been as good as he's been, as clutch as he's been on so many long field goals in the postseason. Does he get it together, Jeff? What do you think?
I think he does. I think he's under that number. That 2020 number, I've just forgotten about how bad he was that season, how erratic he was. That's a huge number.
6 extra points. Missed.
But only 2 field goals.
Yeah.
Only missed 2 field goals.
2 under 50. These are all under 50 points. And extra points are obviously under 50.
But I'm going to go. I just think Dave Stobe is a really good coach, and Harrison Butker has been a very good kicker. And I just can't imagine him having these kind of problems continue to dog him. I think at some point he's got to get it figured out, and I will bet this was the year that he gets a lot more consistent in this area. So I'll go under with that number.
All right, Sam?
Yeah, I'm going to go under as well, but this has a feeling to me of like putting faith in potentially the guy that had last year didn't give us reason to put faith in him. I think something that hurt Harrison Butker last year was the new kickoff and spending so much time experimenting with the new kickoff. And the new kickoff forces you to hit a ball that is not clean. It forces you to hit it in a weird way. And I think if he reviews his last year, he's going to find that possibly mess with him more than he thought that it might. And so if I'm the Chiefs, I tell Harrison Butker, spend all of your time on field goals. We'll do what we can with the kickoffs, even though it's not an ideal situation because I think they could be getting more out of kickoff coverage than they got last year. But I'd rather give up 5 yards and have him get the 3 points. And so I think he's going to be concentrating more on that area, and that'll lead to better production with the thing that matters most.
Yeah, I'm under as well. I mean, I just think the pedigree for him is too good. Jeff's right. Dave Tobe is a good coach on this. More experience, more time. I think he works his way through it. I'm not saying if he goes over it, boy, his time is numbered. But, I mean, he needs to get it together because he's not a cheap kicker. Not that a $6 million cap hit kills you, but, they eventually said, okay, we're going to cut the punter because we're not going to pay the punter top dollar. We can find most of this. So what you don't want to be is where they can look at it and go, we can find 90% of you for a sixth of the price, because Dave Tobe is a good coach and he does a good job of coaching up all the young all the young kickers. So I think it's an important year for Butker. I don't think he's getting cut. We talked about that. But I also think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to do well. I like him to have a good year. I'll take under. But it is amazing. I mean, when you look at what's his name in Dallas, I mean, that guy didn't have a problem with the kickoffs, and
Auburn, yeah.
Yeah, Auburn is just pounding the ball. I mean, I think that kind of stuff, I think Butker puts in and I think he works at it every year. But then there was a good point about 2020. He did hurt his ankle on that one year when we were talking about 2020. But, I think he goes under for sure. Listen, I want to remind you about our great sponsors. Don't forget Italian Delight closed. You can find them online at ItalianDelightKS.com. But Family Vacation, they are out traveling, and we'll be back a week from Wednesday. That's where you can find the first restaurant that brought true New York style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. Again, find them online at ItalianDelightKS.com. And Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's best when it comes to solving your parking lot problems. They've been doing it for more than 30 years. Whether you need concrete work, parking lot repave, crack filling, seal coating, or full asphalt installation, their experienced crews handle it all. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com. For Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast.